All right, this is the trade recap for Thursday, December 14. I had three trades today, two winners, one break even. So let's go ahead and take a look at the trade. So early in the morning, there was a gap right here, right? You can see right here, inefficiency in the market. So what tends to happen on the open is if there's a gap there, it tends to get filled, right? It tends to be a magnet to get filled. So the when the New York session opened, my main goal was to see if I could find an entry long to target this particular gap zone. However, unfortunately, nothing came, so it went without me, and it did eventually fill that particular gap here. So you'll see at this point right here, the gap gets filled right here. It took a while, but it came back and filled it. So once that got filled, my thought process is to see if there's a short possible. No setup shown for me to take the short, but eventually the market actually came down to this particular area right here. And this particular area is interesting because there's a lot of zones here, right, of support. So if it breaks the low of this particular bar here, which is the low of this particular area, my plan was to go long, and that's what I did. You'll see here shortly. I believe it was around this area right here. So I took out the low right here. So I'm looking for a long, and the reason for the long is because on the 1 hour chart, you'll see that um, it came into this gap zone right here, right down here. Tons of support, tons of support, tons of support. So there's a lot of zones down here that sellers have to get through if it wants this particular market to go down. So you'll see here that yeah, I take a long right here. So I'm prepping viewer. This is probably um, not one of the better trades, just because you had this gap zone right here. You had the point of control right here on this particular down bar, and you have negative deltas, right? So probably not a good trade, having looked at this in hindsight. So right here is when I entered the trade. Now, if you kind of go back, right, and kind of analyze this particular trade here, right? So yeah, sure, it came into this gap zone right here, but you had opposition, right? You had this zone here that was tested, right? So ideally, you want this particular zone to be broken. You had negative delta on the 15. You had negative delta on the 5. But you see that sellers are, declining. You'll see that also declining right here. So not the perfect trade, but doable from what I can see. So let's see what happens. So yeah, positive delta. 5 seconds in, all of a sudden, massive order came in, produced this part to be a negative, and a gap zone showed up. So target would have been right here on the gap zone, which got hit. So that was the first trade for $90. The second trade, I believe, was down here when they took out this low right here. So right here, the next trade was this particular trade right here. So I see that it hit the fair value gap zone right here on both the 15 and the 5 coming into the 1 minute. So I expect a lot of support down here. There's also point of control shift of the bar down to a low end. So that's all good sign for a long. Buyers coming in. But as you can see here, sellers are still coming in as well. So I believe 720 was when I took this trade. Now you'll soon you'll soon see that I wasn't comfortable with this trade, and this is a trade that broke even. That I broke even on. So you'll see the reason shortly why I didn't feel comfortable with this trade here. Okay, so again to the trade. So far, so good, right? This is positive delta. Tested this F zone. Tested this F zone. Got a nice rejection wick right here. So far, so good. Now, as I play forward a little bit more, I decided to take a break even. You'll see shortly. So right here, so this point of control held right there at this particular area right here when I entered. Now the bar went below the point of control. Right, no movement on this this up bar here with positive delta. Okay, so it didn't look too good here at this point. Okay, I decided just to go ahead and take a break even trade just to get out. So the point of the control shifted down, so buyers stepping in. So even though I was wrong, this actually did come and hit my original target here. Yeah, massive rejection bar right here. And then it created another bearish gap zone right here. Yeah, it would have eventually hit my target up here. But again, if you don't feel the trade's going on your way, just get out for a break even in case it's better to be even than to take a loss. Yeah, so it did hit my target eventually, but again, I didn't feel too comfortable. Just a lot of reds here. And then my third trade was a good setup. I believe it was right down here when I took out this low. So I'm eyeing for a long here. It'd be nice if it came down and tested this 1 minute gap zone, but it didn't. So I was okay with that. What I wanted to happen was this bar breached this point of control up here, and it did. Now at 7:35, if this is positive bar, positive delta, point of control at the low of the bar. On the 15-minute, same thing. If this was a positive delta, point of control on the lower end of the bar, I would have taken. This is where I took my trade. Right, my target would have been this gap zone up here. So you'll see that took the long. This is a good setup actually because as you can see, a 15 positive delta point of control lower end of the 15-minute bar, 5-minute bar positive delta, same thing, same setup with inside a gap zone, support here. There's another gap zone right here that just formed, and then support down here. So this would have been a setup trade here. Unfortunately, the target was kind of small. I did see this gap zone here. Target would have been just right there. So that was for like about $150. And at that point there, I believe, and at that point of control zone right here, do you see massive rejection right here? So that was a good target to get out. All right, so that's the summary of the trade for today. I only trade till 8 o'clock, 8:30 a.m. So nothing else showed up before that. So that was the end of my day. Another winning day, up 227.